Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about going no contact with a parent or family member. I want to say that this topic isn't talked about enough, but I do feel like it is becoming more of a topic in society nowadays, especially with our current generation. I do feel like the older generation, they were used to pushing things under the rug and accepting behavior when they didn't have to, because they were family. The concept of going no contact with a parent in that generation was unheard of. So I think it's definitely being talked about more, and something that I kind of want to share my experience with. And yeah, hopefully this helps someone who is currently working through a process of going no contact with a parent, is thinking about going no contact with a parent, just anyone who feels like they need a safe space in terms of it's okay if you need to distance yourself from a family member if you feel unsafe. So my experience has definitely been a bit of a roller coaster, which I feel as if a lot of people could probably relate to that have also gotten no contact with a parent. It took me a really long time to accept that my parent was not going to be the parent that I wanted them to be. They continued to let me down, continued to disappoint me, continued to put me in unsafe circumstances that for my well-being I had to distance myself from them and go no contact. And it's been a journey for sure. It's I think the hardest part, honestly, is probably explaining to people my family tree, because it's a little bit complicated. So when I tell them that I'm no contact with a parent, I get a little bit hesitant, because I have had in the past some pushback from other people who say that I should forgive them, I should let them back in my life, their family, and things along that line. So it's definitely an awkward topic to bring up to people, but I do have a lot of positives as well. I have a lot of support, and I have a lot of people that stand by me, and sometimes people are curious and they'll ask why, and then I'll explain why, and then they understand. And just having that support and having people that understand you and know where you're coming from can really help as well. It's definitely not something you want to do alone if you can help it, because even if you aren't doing it alone, it's still going to feel lonely, because I think naturally as a child you tend to want your parents to accept you, or you want your parents' approval. That's kind of just a natural aspect of growing up. And when you get to that point, when you realize that your parent isn't the parent that you thought that they were, and that they weren't going to change, and even having to accept that sometimes there was good moments, sometimes there was moments that were good, and moments that you can look back on and feel happy about. But I think it comes to a point when the good moments are very few and far between, and the bad moments are more at the forefront of everything. Just kind of like a natural abusive relationship, you always hear about how it's hard for people to leave because they do have good moments sometimes, and that's what keeps them, that's what makes them stay, is those good moments. And they know that the bad moments are really bad, but the good moments, when they're good, they're really good. And so I think, yeah, just having people in your corner that understand you and understand where you're coming from and understand why you're doing what you're doing. I think, and this is easier said than done, I think also being okay with the fact that people probably or may not agree with you or may not think that you're making the right choice. As I said before, I have had people in my life tell me that I need to forgive this parent, I need to let them back in my life, they're my parent, and it always comes around as they're part of my family, so I should just accept their behavior and continue to allow them in my life. And it's very unfortunate, because I wish, you know, as a society, we were more adapt to the fact that if someone is unsafe or abusive to us, despite them being family, and we need to distance ourselves with them, or especially go no contact. I wish it was more accepted. But anyways, I digress. I think also just, yeah, being okay with the fact that people might not agree with you or might not agree with your decision. One of the other things that I really had to come to terms with is losing other family members in the process. And in a sense that either the other family member will continue to have a relationship with the family member that you're going no contact with, and then to keep yourself safe and to keep your boundaries in place, you need to distance yourself from that family member as well. Or sometimes that family member that you're going no contact with may manipulate or twist things in a way to make you seem like the villain or seem like the bad guy. And that can be really tough too, because when you go no contact with a family member, you expect to just lose one, and sometimes you lose more than one. So I think that's why it's really, really important to have a support system in place, because there's a lot of heartache that comes with it, and there's a lot that gets brought up, and then you lose a lot, but you also gain a lot too. You gain so much, and the benefits definitely outweigh the cons. And it's a process. It's not something that can happen overnight. It's not something that you'll just wake up one day and you'll be fine about it. I'm definitely someone who feels very deeply and feels things a lot. So I think this will always be something that I will feel very deeply, and I can try to pretend like I don't care or that it doesn't bother me, but I feel like it'll always bother me in some way. But I think you just need to do what's best for you and your mental health. And sometimes it's better to just cut that connection. I think also trying to unlearn the words or the phrases that were spoken to you growing up, if you had that with that family member. There was a lot of negative speech that was directed towards me from this specific family member, and it affected my self-esteem so much. It was very, very hard, because a parent is supposed to lift you up. The parent is supposed to support you in whatever you may want to do. They're supposed to be the voice of reason. They're supposed to be your cheerleader. They're supposed to be there for you. So for them to be the opposite of that can be really tough. So I've really had to do a lot of work on my self-esteem and my confidence, and try to not listen to that voice in my head from my childhood of what I was told, and try to nurture my inner child in a way to be. I just realized I have a stain on my shirt. Oh. Anyways, I'm spilling my guts on the internet. I don't think it really matters if there's a stain on my shirt. Anyways, I think, yeah, just trying to speak to yourself positively, doing habits that you liked doing as a kid, nurturing your inner child. I know that's been a big word in the mainstream now, but it truly is something beneficial that I think if you feel ready to do, you should definitely do it. Even just, you know, I've really gotten into coloring lately, and I used to color a lot as a kid. I used to be very artsy, and I kind of stopped for a while because I didn't feel like I was good enough at it, and I had to kind of realize that I don't have to be the best at everything. I don't have to be perfect at my hobbies to enjoy them. They're just my hobbies. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can think about that has helped me with it. Journaling, therapy, if it's accessible for you. There's therapists that are certified in that kind of field, like trauma therapy, and can even help you through the no contact process if need be. So yeah, that is my story briefly about going no contact with a parent. I hope this helps someone, even if it's just one of you, and I hope you have a lovely day. And if you have any pets, give them some pets for me. Okay, see you in the next one.